Hello students, good morning. This is Anupama and I am going to start with a new topic, chapter number 1, that is from the unit 1 of course, reproduction in organisms. So this is a basic introduction topic again, and this topic will be helpful, greatly helpful for your next two other topics, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants and human reproduction. So in this topic you are not going to study everything about detail, but some important aspects you are going to study here, which is very necessary for the rest two of the topics. So shall we start now? Coming to the lifespan. The period from birth to the natural death of an organism is called as lifespan. So from the day a organism is born till the day it is dying, it is called as lifespan. That in between these it is called as lifespan. Reproduction is defined as biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones similar to itself. It is a completely biological process. The young ones are also called as offsprings biologically. The offsprings grow, mature, and in turn produce new offsprings. Thus, there is a cycle of birth, growth, and death. So, birth, growth, and death are the main process of the life cycle. Reproduction enables the continuity of the species generation after generation. So, this is the main purpose. So, continuity of the species has to be maintained, and this occurs only by the process of reproduction. So, coming to the next one, types of reproduction. So, basically there are two types of reproduction. One is asexual reproduction and the other is sexual reproduction. When offspring is produced by a single parent with or without the involvement of gamete formation, and that is called as asexual reproduction. So this is a type of reproduction where a single parent is involved, where gametes may be present or they may be absent, and that is called as asexual reproduction. Second is sexual reproduction. When two parents of the opposite sex participate in the reproductive process and also involves fusion of male and female gametes, and that is called as sexual reproduction. So here two parents are involved for the reproduction, and that too of opposite sex, and there is a fusion of two types of gametes, and that is male gamete and female gamete, and that type of reproduction is called as sexual reproduction. So this is completely different from the sexual reproduction. So now in the later part of this topic we are going to study one by one about the asexual and some parts of the sexual reproduction. Coming to the asexual reproduction, it is also called as somatogenic reproduction. A single individual or the parent is capable of producing an offspring. As a result, the offspring that are produced are not only identical to one another but are also exact copies of their parents. This is very important. Since the offspring or the new individual formed is obtained only by a single parent, there is no exchange of genes, so it will be exact copy of its parent. This is very important, that is it is identical to the parent in every aspect, and that is called as asexual reproduction. Coming to the clone. Clone means morphologically and genetically similar individuals. That is, organisms produced by the asexual reproductions are also called as clones because they are morphologically and genetically similar to their parents. Morphologically means even to see external appearance they are similar to their parents, along with the genetical appearance also they are similar to their parents. Asexual reproduction is common among single-celled organisms and in plants and animals with relatively simple organizations. So, this type of reproduction is common in single-celled organisms. And we can see in some plants and animals also where they have very simplest of their structure and organization. Types of asexual reproduction. Binary fission. The organism or the parent cell divides into two to give rise to new individual, and this type of asexual reproduction is called as binary fission. Binary means two, fission means division. What is divided into two? That is important here. This type can be seen in Protista and Monera, that is amoeba and paramecium. So here you can see that this is an amoeba, the single celled organism, microscopic of course. This amoeba undergoes a special type of reproduction that is called as binary fission, where a single amoeba cell enlarges itself into this, and later it duplicates inside of the cell whatever is present, that is nucleus and all the components which are present, contractile vacuoles and etc. It duplicates itself and then starts elongating and ultimately divides into two daughter cells. These two daughter cells are exact copies of its parent cell. These are copies, exact copies of the parent cell, both morphologically and genetically, and this is called as binary fission. Next type of asexual reproduction is budding. It is a mode of asexual reproduction where the division is unequal and small buds are produced that remain attached initially to the parent cell and eventually get separated and mature into new individual organism. This is a type of division found in yeast and hydra. So this can be seen in yeast and hydra especially, where the division is unequal. In the last case where binary fission, we saw that the division was equal, but here the division is unequal. That is, the parent cell doesn't divide into two equal cells, but instead it forms a small bud at the initial stages. This is the bud from the parent cell, this is the parent cell, and this is a bud formed. This bud receives some of the components from the mother cell and later it becomes separated slowly and forms a new individual organism that is called as budding. This is easily seen in yeast and hydra. Next type of asexual reproduction structures we are going to study here again, zoospores. So we shall elongate this. These are microscopic motile spores found in algae and some fungi. The special features of zoospores, zoo means motile, moving, something moving. So the spores have some structures which helps them to move. So they are called as zoospores. These are microscopic of course. And this is a zoospore. And the example is Chlamydomonas. So you can see here you can see this is the example for zoospores and the example is Chlamydomonas, and here you can see that small structures are present like this. These are called as flagella. So these flagella help in the movement of these spores and hence they are called as zoospores. Next, conidia. These are non-motile spores found in penicillium. This is an example for conidia, that is penicillium. This we have studied in first year during the division of taxonomy something. So classification chapter. So conidia are asexual reproducing spores found in penicillium, especially fungi. Here you can see these are the small structures and they are called as conidia. Next, gemmules. These are internal buds of sponges. This is an example for the gemmule. These are the internal structures found in the sponges, the small things. These are again asexual reproducing spores. These are very important, and the examples especially they will be asked every year usually for the examination. Next, vegetative propagation in plants. This we will deal in the next class. Thank you. If any doubts, you are free to ask me through messages or through the call. Thank you. Hello all, welcome back to biology class. So today we are continuing with the topic reproduction in organism. First part I had released on Saturday and this is the second part. So coming to the vegetative propagation in plants. So what is the meaning of vegetative propagation? It is nothing but asexual reproduction is termed in animals and vegetative propagation in case of plants. So vegetative propagation is nothing but a type of asexual reproduction happening in plants. So these are some of the examples given here and we are going to study about this in detail in further slides. First one is runner or stolon. It is slender stem that grows horizontally to ground. Naturally it cuts off and separated develops into new individual. So runner or stolon is a type of vegetative propagation unit in case of plants. Example is strawberry. So this runs horizontally on the plant. Suckers. It is a basal shoot, root, sprout, adventitious shoot. It is also called the adventitious shoot. It grows from a bud at the base of a tree or shrub or from its roots. Example is cherry, apple. Offset. Offset is a small, virtually complete daughter plant that is actually produced on the mother plant. So this offset is also can be seen in water hyacinth or terror of Bengal plant. So this I hope you have seen all these examples in first year in the practical classes. So this offset you can see in our college, it is there near the botany department. So this is a mother plant and this is a daughter plant. From the mother plant you can see a stem is arising here and that is called as offset. So this grows from the mother plant and give rise to a new individual and later this is hence called as vegetative propagation. Next is rhizome. It is the underground modified stem. So if a rhizome is separated into pieces, each piece may be able to give rise to a new plant. This you have seen in ginger and kenna. Ginger is the best example. You can see ginger over here. And these small particles, in case of ginger, all these ends have the capacity to give rise to a new individual plant. So it is a vegetative propagation mode. Tuber you can see in case of potato. Tubers modified plant structures that are enlarged to store the nutrients. These are short, thickened underground stem. It bears minute scale leaves with a bud. It has the ability for developing into a new plant. I hope you have all seen the potato. After bringing the potato if it's there for more than 1 month, you can see that small leaves arises from this. Shoots with leaves arises. And these arises from the region called as scale leaves region. And this is a type of vegetative propagation. It is called as tuber. Terror of Bengal. This is one of the important questions usually asked you for 1 marks or 2 marks every year. So aquatic plant water hyacinth, it is also called as Eichhornia, is considered as terror of Bengal. It was first introduced in India because of beautiful flower and shape of a leaf. This was first introduced into India by some other countries because it has very beautiful leaves and beautiful flowers, but it became a terror of Bengal. It occupied all the water sources of the Bengal and made it unfit for the drinking. So can let us know about what happened there actually. It rapidly reproduced by vegetative method offset in short period. It drains oxygen from the water that leads to the death of the fishes. Hence, it is considered as water weed. You can see this near Unkal Lake. All of Unkal Lake will be covered by this water hyacinth by the end of the rainy season. Every year they remove it, and again it occupies next by the next rainy season again. So this is the terror of Bengal, usually occupying all the stagnant water sources of India. Thank you. Next we will continue with the next part. Hello students, good morning all. So now welcome to the part 3 of the topic reproduction in organisms. So in the last class we dealt with the asexual reproducing structures, some details, and now we are going to deal with the important asexual reproducing structures. These all structures are very important from the exam point of view also. Every year without fail this will be asked. Bulbil, it is the reproductive structure is bulbil in case of agave, leaf buds in bryophyllum, offset in water hyacinth, tuber in case of potato, rhizomes in case of banana, gemmules in case of sponges, rhizome in case of ginger, conidia in case of penicillium, zoospores for chlamydomonas, buds for hydra, bulb for onion, and runner or stolon for strawberry. All these structures are very important. Okay, just go through it continuously, read it properly. Next we'll go with the sexual reproduction. So, the sexual reproduction involves formation of the male and female gametes either by the same individual or by different individuals of the opposite sex. The gametes are involved here. The gametes fuse to form the zygote, which develops to form the new offspring. Because of the fusion of male and female gametes, sexual reproduction results in offspring that are not identical to the parents or among themselves. So, the main difference between the asexual and sexual reproduction is, in case of asexual reproduction, the organisms are exactly identical to their parents because it is a single parent involved there. But here, the offsprings which are resulted by sexual reproduction are neither identical to the parents or among themselves. All organisms have to reach a certain stage of growth and maturity in their life before they can reproduce sexually. Before the reproductive stage is attained by the organism, they have to go with the other two phases also, and they are called a juvenile phase and senescent phase. Now we'll study about this in detail. First one is juvenile phase. In animals, the period of growth to attain maturity is called juvenile phase. This is termed as vegetative phase in case of plants. So animals only, the period of growth to attain the maturity is termed as juvenile phase. The same thing is termed as vegetative phase in case of plants. In angiosperms, vegetative phase completes as soon as they start flowering. Plants ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ಲವರಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ವೆಜಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Senescent phase. The end of the reproductive phase is called senescent phase or the old age. After this, the individual dies up. So juvenile phase ಆದಮೇಲೆ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಸಿನೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸಿನೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಫೇಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ರಿಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಫೇಸ್ means the organism stops the production of the gametes, and that is called as senescent phase, or it is also called as old age. After this, the organism dies up. There are some plants that flower throughout the year and some others that show seasonal flowering. You have seen some plants all the year, all the days of the year it will start flowering, but some plants are there which flowers only seasonal, even the fruits also. Plants, the annual and biennial types show clear-cut vegetative, reproductive and senescent phases. Annual plants and biennial types of plants which show clear vegetative phase and reproductive phases. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಫೇಸಸ್ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಫೇಸಸ್ನ ದೀಸ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಸ್ ಶೋ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ಲಿ. In the perennial species, it is very difficult to clearly define these phases. A few plants exhibit unusual flowering phenomenon. Some plants exhibit unusual flowering phenomenon. ಅಂದರೆ ಬಹಳ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೊಂದ್ಸರಿ ಹೂ ಬಿಡೋದು ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. And some of them are bamboo species which flower only once in their lifetime. Generally after 50 to 100 years, they produce large number of fruits and die. So bamboo, I hope you have seen it. It flowers unusually, that is 50 to 100 years once sari matra flowering ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Another thing is Strobilanthes kunthiana, which is also commonly called as Neelakuranji, flowers once in 12 years. So this is important questions which has been asked every year about the Strobilanthes kunthiana. It is a flower plant which flowers once in 12 years. So you can see here. So this is bamboo flowering 50 to 100 years, after 50 to 100 years. And these two are Neelakuranji or Strobilanthes kunthiana flowers. These are somewhat purplish or bluish color flowers which completely covers the mountains. These are normally found in some parts of the Kerala in South India. It is called as Strobilanthes kunthiana. These flowers once in 12 years. They are very beautiful flowers. You can see here. Next is reproductive cycles in animals. Reproduction in animals is seasonal. Birds lay eggs only in specific seasons. You have seen this. Some season birds lay eggs very prominently. The placental animals exhibit reproductive cycle that leads to change in ovaries and hormonal levels. The animals having the placenta follow the reproductive cycles because they produces ovaries and the hormonal levels changes. There are two types of cycles. One is estrous cycle, the other is menstrual cycle. Coming to the first one, estrous cycle. It is the reproductive cycle of non-primates like cow, dogs, rats, tigers, etc. So estrous cycle is found in non-primates. These animals are reproductively active only in specific season. They are not completely active every time. Only in specific season they undergo the process of reproduction, and hence they are called as seasonal breeders. The other name for estrous cycle is seasonal breeders. The second one is menstrual cycle. It is the reproductive cycle of primates like monkey, apes and humans. So this type of reproduction is found in primates. These are reproductively active throughout their reproductive phases. Hence they are called as continuous breeders. So these primates, when they attain the reproductive stage, they continuously undergo the process of reproduction, and hence they are called as continuous breeders. Thank you. The next class will continue with this topic. If any doubts, please feel free to ask me. Thank you. Hello students, good morning. Welcome back to the topic reproduction in organisms. So in the last class we studied about the sexual reproduction and pre-fertilization events, and now we are going to study about the fertilization and post-fertilization events. So coming to the fertilization, it is a process of fusion of male and female gametes. So since it is sexual reproduction, gametes are involved, and two types of gametes called as male and female both are involved, and that is fusion is called as fertilization. It is also termed as syngamy. The other term for the fertilization word is syngamy. Coming to parthenogenesis. So parthenogenesis is a special type of fertilization where development of female gamete into new organisms without fertilization. So it is a type of event where female gamete develops into a new organism directly without undergoing the process of fertilization. This occurs in rotifers, honeybee and turkey birds. Types of fertilization. So there are two types of fertilization: external fertilization and internal fertilization. So external fertilization means syngamy occurs outside the body of an organism. Syngamy means fertilization. So if the fertilization occurs outside the body of an organism, that is called as external fertilization.
This occurs in algae, fishes, and amphibians. Coming to internal fertilization. So, this is where fertilization occurs inside the body of an organism. Example for these are fungi, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Post fertilization events. So, after fertilization, the events which takes place, they are called as post fertilization events. It includes the events in sexual reproduction after the formation of gametes. Formation of diploid zygote results here. In organisms belonging to fungi and algae, zygote develops a thick wall that is resistant to desiccation and damage. So, in cases of fungi and algae, the zygote develops into a thick wall which is resistant to any type of the acids or anything or any damage, and they are commonly called as achaenates. It undergoes a period of rest before germination. What is zygote actually? Zygote is a post-fertilization term. So, zygote is the vital link that ensures continuity of species between organisms of one generation and the next generation. Every sexually reproducing organism, including human beings, begin life as a single cell, and that is zygote. So, the zygote is a post-fertilized cell which is formed, which is a single cell. It is a link which creates from the last generation to the next generation. Embryogenesis. The process of development of embryo from the zygote is called embryogenesis. So, since the zygote is a single cell and this has to form the organism, so the next process is embryogenesis. So, where the zygote develops into embryo. So, these are different events which you can see here. So the zygote undergoes a cell division called as mitosis. So this undergoes the cell differentiation later. Different type of cells are formed to form the tissues. Specialized tissues are formed. Tissues result in organs. Organs form the organism. So this is the final product of the sexual reproduction. So now coming to the types of animals. That was in case of plants, and now we are going to the animals. So in case of animals, there are two types of organisms. One is oviparous and the other is viviparous. So what is meant by oviparous and viviparous? So oviparous animals are those animals which lay fertilized or unfertilized eggs. So simply the egg laying animals are called as oviparous. Example is reptiles and birds. Viviparous means they give directly birth to the young ones. That is example for this is mammals. This is very important. Usually every year they will ask this question. Coming to the development of zygote. So how does the zygote develops? In case of oviparous, in case of viviparous. So coming to the oviparous, fertilized eggs are covered by hard calcareous shell which laid in a safe place in the environment, and young ones hatch out after a period of incubation. So I've seen the egg, right? So all the eggs are covered by a thick shell which are calcareous, which is made up of calcium. So after a certain period of development, inside that the young ones hatch out, they come out from the period of incubation through the shell. That is in case of oviparous. In viviparous animals, proper embryonic care and protection is laid inside the womb of the organism, which causes greater survival chances of the young ones. Since the young ones develop directly inside the mother's body, the parental care is more in case of viviparous when compared to the oviparous animals. So next is zygote in flowering plants. How the zygote is formed in the flowering plant? Zygote is formed inside the ovule of the flowering plant. After fertilization, the sepals, petals and stamens of the flower wither and fall off. This is very important because after fertilization, the main function of the flower is to form the fertilization. So after that, all the parts of the flower, that is sepals, petals and stamens, fall off. There is no use of it and everything falls off. Now the zygote develops into embryo. ovules develops into seed, ovary into fruit. And the pericarp is a thick wall of the fruit. For all the fruit you can see the wall, that is called as pericarp. So this completes the topic, and if you have any doubts you can directly message me on my WhatsApp number, and in the next video I am going to send about the recap of the whole topic. Thank you.